Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu
Waalaikumsalam.
ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome to the Man's World podcast or Man's World show. Um, if you're new to us, we talk about all things related to men living in this society, Western society in America, and everything dealing to trying to be a better man, improve ourselves as men, and live successful lives, spiritually, physically, financially, um, psychologically, and what may have you. So we're going to jump right into it. Um, we're going to share a couple of things and comment on them. If you have any questions, if you want to add to the content, type in the chat. If you want to come on, just let us know in the chat. I'll post a link and you can come on and chat as well. Um, but the first thing I want to share, let me just pull this up for everybody. Okay, let's see. It's right here. Okay, can you see that? Let me know you can see that, Mubarak.
I cannot. I cannot see anything right now.
Can you
I mean, I
see?
see us, but I don't.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, now it's coming up now.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we'll play this, and here you guys can listen to this. We won't play the whole thing, but just get the gist.
Okay, because there's a bill that's just been passed in Pakistan to say that every man has to have two wives. Okay, and they have to be burdened with that responsibility. Let's not call it a burden, shall we? To look after them, because there's too many women in Pakistan now, and the men have to step up their game, and they have to work their butts off, and they have to provide for their women. OMG. There's too many unmarried women in Pakistan, and because of that, they have now passed this bill. Tell me what your thoughts are. Obviously, nobody wants to be a second wife, but over there's a different level of lifestyle. I mean, you've got a lot of poor people, and these women are being neglected, and they are being made public property. So the man, being the responsible protector and the provider, has to do and play his role in.
So we'll stop it there. So let me get your thoughts on that, Mubarak, on this alleged bill that's being passed in Pakistan that is basically pushing men that they got to get two wives to help take care of all these unmarried women, because must be some kind of epidemic that's going on in Pakistan.
There's a phrase, I don't know if I coined it, but I'm going to claim it, is that the plane is always going to land. There's always going to be, if it's up in the air, it's going to land somewhere. And or nature is always going to take its course. And when you try to artificially alter the course of nature, what's natural, then you may appear or think that you're having some success or that it's best, but really the way that we have been created, the way the world has been created, the system of life that's natural and innate in men and women, is always going to prevail. And so a couple of things that she said, which she's talking about the law that was passed, but she's also throwing in her biases in there, which are dead wrong. She says, the men have to get two wives, or they've been burdened with that. Oh, it's not a burden at all, or whatever. She acted as if it is just fun and games for the man. The man just gets to play around, which she's dead wrong about that. And she also said that nobody wants to be a second wife, which she's dead wrong about that. I mean, trust me, we can go down many avenues for evidence to show that she's definitely wrong about people wanting to be a second wife. Some people, generally, they're only looking to be a second or third wife. Some people may not necessarily want it, but they would prefer that over being single, or they would prefer it over being, married to someone who they don't necessarily want. They want a better quality man, and that might take being a second wife. So she was wrong about those things, But what I was alluding to about the natural progression, when you try to artificially, or what is it, man-made laws, try to implement them. And I don't know if we should have the clip where the lady is talking about what they did, and this was previous to this, where they wanted to implement some laws in Pakistan to help the situation. And you see, this is what it led to.
Yeah. Let me know when that pops up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay.
To Article 6(1) of the Muslim family law in Pakistan. If a husband wants to remarry a second or third wife, he is required to seek permission from his first wife. And if his first wife does not give him permission, and if she complains against him, then he faces 1 year in prison, so 1 year imprisonment, okay, and a fine and or imprisonment. So it's either one of them or both of them. So according to Sharia law, okay,
No, say Sharia law.
it's different. So according to Sharia law, he doesn't need the permission of his first wife, unless she has it in her contract that he's not allowed to marry another wife after him. However, other than that, this is the Pakistani law, and so it's always best to tell the first wife.
Well, so there's that. Yeah, go ahead.
So if we just look at it, what they did was, in, I guess, influence in Western culture or whatever, they decided to go halfsies with Islam and modern Western culture, in which they know that as a country that historically in a region they have Islamic in their roots in their society and culture, but yet they heavily influenced by British colonization and just Western culture. They decided, well, let's implement a law that the husband, we can't stop him. We're not going to stop him from getting a second or third wife, but we'll implement a law, because in Western countries, it's illegal. It's illegal for you to legally marry. You can have as many girlfriends as you want. You can sleep around one night stands, 1 hour stands. They don't care. Yeah. But marrying a woman, honoring her, making her part of your family, giving them equal, rights and time and all those things. No, that's not allowed. But so what Pakistan did was they said, okay, we'll make it a law that the husband cannot marry a second wife without the permission of his current wife or wives, I guess. So if he has two, he needs permission to get a third, which is wild. Okay, so they did that. And so now you fast forward a few years. I don't know exactly when they implemented the permission thing, maybe a while back. As a matter of fact, I think a family member was telling me that it was in 2017 is when they implemented you must get permission from your first wife. Yep. For your original wife, whatever wives you have. Now, we look here, 8 years later, 9 years later, they are having such an epidemic of single women. They're being overrun with women who are not married, who don't have anybody to take care of them, I guess. So now they are mandating that every man must take two. You see? So, I mean, it's like you mess with the natural order of things, and the laws of Allah, the Sharia, is going to be the natural and best way to operate. Yeah. If you leave it up to a woman to allow her man to have another wife, you're going to cause problems. It's almost never going to happen if it's up to her. And that's why Allah didn't leave it up to them. He left it up to the man to make the decision, and the woman who's currently with him to accept to stay or go, and the woman who he's offering or pursuing for marriage, or it could be the other way around, gives them the opportunity. It's a choice. Do you want to get into this or not? If you do, let's go ahead. If not, Allah's earth is spacious.
Yeah, and I have to clarify, because I did some fact checking on the new law that says they have to marry two, and so far it seemed like it's fake news. However, it's been enough of a conversation out there that it's actually picking up people actually thinking it's real news, like it's real thing. So whether it's fake or not, the point still stands, and the point that there's now a bunch of more single women that they had before, probably more issues with marital problems, adultery, all other types of things. Because as Mubarak pointed out, whether you could, like the one sister said, nobody wants to be a second wife, which is not true. But let's just go with that. You end up being second to something. And we're going to get into that a little bit. And we can see how this stuff plays out in Western society that, pretty much totally bans it legally anyway. Right. And it causes a societal problem where she was talking about, women being poor, not having a husband or a man to take care of them, and this, so on and so forth. Yes, that also causes a burden on the state. And that burden on the state, as far as taking care of people that need some kind of social welfare or assistance, guess what? That just gets spread out onto everybody. So no matter what, you're still paying the bill, no matter what, at some point on some level. And then on the other part of it, like what we see in America, men have mistresses, multiple mistresses.
Mm-hmm.
Someone ends up being their second wife for a short time period. Illegitimate children, right? More and more unmarried. And we especially see it in the African American community, where the Black family, nuclear family, is disappearing, right? Everybody comes from split households where they're being raised by one parent and these sorts of things. And when you talk about Islam, and you can make arguments about like, okay, like it's best for the husband to get permission or talk to his first wife and all that. Oh, yes, we can have those discussions. However, we go back to the whole system of Islam. Allah put a system down here, and you can't pick and choose and cherry pick which parts of the system that you want. Like the sister in the first video was kind of making light of like, oh, it's such a burden on the men, like basically kind of downgrading polygamy. But in her mind, she cherry picked the part about, well, it's the man's responsibility to take care of the women, right? So she was okay with just accepting that part. Like, okay, the men have to take care of the women, and there's these poor women, but, oh, it's such a burden on them. They got to take care of it. Like, she doesn't see how she's like brainwashed halfway. And this is what a lot of people do, especially growing up in Western societies. And it doesn't matter what your background is, whether you come from a Middle Eastern, Arab, or whatever type of background. When you get into these Western cultures, you start trying to get a little bit contradictory in how your positions are on things. You want the things from Islam that benefit you, and you want to kind of dismiss the stuff that doesn't benefit you. Okay. And we can't do that. It all works together on every single aspect of it. So, and just to give like a little taste of what we're seeing here is when you don't like have Islamic mindset, right? And you don't accept what Allah has put down as far as this system of living an Islamic life, you run into things like this. Let me know when you can see that.
I can see it.
Yep. And if you read the headline, it says, deadly love triangle. Nashville wife shot dead after storming mistress's home in heated fight over husband. So there's a heated confrontation. This man had a mistress that he hid from his wife because if we put this in the Pakistani law terms, his wife didn't give him permission to get a second wife. And not to be like extreme, but the first wife, because she didn't give her husband permission, ended up getting shot by the mistress or the American second wife. We can start calling mistresses American second wives.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what it is. I mean, this is an extreme case. You don't always have the wife being shot dead by the mistress, but you do have fights. You do have fights. Yep. You have arguments. You have marriages and relationships that break up simply over that. Now, I'm not condoning infidelity. I would say this as a for the men, whether you're Muslim or not, if you just operate in this way, I think a lot of these things, it would go a long way towards helping these type of things never happen. Mm-hmm. No matter what, anytime that you entertain a a relationship with a woman where you, at the very beginning, when whether you are proposing to her or courting her for marriage or whatever, you simply tell her, I reserve the right to have another woman, have another wife. And if she says no, then don't deal with her.
Yeah.
I promise you, I can guarantee you, unless you have serious deficiencies in your appearance, your finances, your freedom, and things like that, you will, no doubt about it, be able to find a woman who not only will agree, but she will assist you, or at the very least, not inhibit, not prohibit you. See, the thing is, a lot of men who they have and it's not for everybody. Every man doesn't want a second or a third wife.
Right.
They may want it, but it's just not reasonable. It's not. It just then it's not their preference right now due to whatever, maybe their age, maybe their situation or whatever. But for the men who do, and I would say even for the men who don't, always you reserve the right, because you never know what reasons you may want to have another wife. But if you do that, I guarantee you, I can promise you, you might not get the one that you want, but you will have options. You will have options. Now, sometimes what you perceive as a not as good an option, and it could possibly be, there's some women that maybe they, as far as their appearance and their intellect and all those things that you like, maybe they say, listen, I just don't want to share. And that may be great. And you may never be able to get that person. That person may be able to, they have such, as far as what they have, in their arsenal, they can get a man to just single in on them. And there's people that are going to match up with those and maybe be happily ever after. But if you are a person who you say, you know what, that's something that I want to leave my options open, then I would say that you definitely should. And I would say probably even these women who are extremely beautiful or extremely whatever you want to put the metrics of attractiveness, because they themselves will be trying to go after the top echelon of men, probably, they themselves will still agree. Yeah. They will agree. If all of the men who were, whatever, ranking system you want to put, if they were all saying, listen, I'm reserving the right to have more than one wife, and otherwise don't deal with me, you would find them agreeing, settling for it, and they might even be, listen, I've heard women even say they want to be involved in the selection process for whoever else, to get married to. I wouldn't do that, but it happens. So that's my advice. Reserve the right, no matter what.
Yep, and I would say, like Mubarak mentioned, that if you have it in your mind that you might want to do this, I would just say, even if you don't, just make that a standard practice of reserving the right. Even if you think right now, like maybe you're young and you got this, lovey-dovey princess and Prince Charming type of thing going on, where this is my boo thing forever and ever. And I'm never going to need a second wife. One, don't ever say that. Two, before you get married, always reserve the right. It should be like a standard issue clause. There's standard clauses that are in certain contracts that go in, and you might have no intentions on ever do it, but just in case it comes up, you have that right, because if it ever does come up, you'll be happy. You'll be in a better position when that does come up than if you didn't do it. 10 times better position. And definitely, no matter what, don't go the extreme opposite side of that and say, yeah, I'm never getting a second wife. Never. Because some guys will use that as a way to try to court who they're marrying as a selling point. Yeah, I'm just straight monogamous guy number one, and I can't understand these dogs. They do polygamy. You might be that guy. Don't be that guy. And I would say that what usually happens when you get in that situation, and if you do put that up front, listen, I reserve the right to get another wife in the future. What happens mentally with the woman that you're pursuing? If she doesn't, if she's someone who naturally doesn't want polygamy, and if she is this high caliber, like, beautiful lady that he's like, I could just keep a man for myself and I'm sufficient, all that. If she likes you, she's just going to convince herself that she's going to be so good that you'll never need one. But at least you got that step. Let her think that as well, and hopefully she lives up to that situation or that that idea. So you're not going to be in any negative situation. If someone does refuse to do that, then right there, I would put that up as a red flag for multiple reasons. We talked previously about before when you get into marriages about having leverage and being in positions of power and these certain things. Right there, she's letting you know that I'm the one in the position of power here. Mm-hmm. And as a man, you don't want to go into a relationship being the underdog, I would say. Mm-hmm. You want your best to be the one that's, the favorite, the one that everybody's betting on, so to say. Favorite, you got the ball in your court. So take that as a red flag.
Yeah. And I would just to add on to that, it's just an amazing observation, I feel like, that a man physically is most capable of being able to have more than one wife, 1, 2, 3, 4 women, mm-hmm. when he's probably between the ages of like 15 and 35, 15 and 30. He can do it physically. He can do it. No problem. But financially and mentally, psychologically, socially, he's probably best suited and capable of managing 1, 2, 3, or 4 women when he's over 40, 45, and so I find that to be a little bit of Allah puts the challenge in there, because I always think, physically, 25, physically 25, and then, you're right now, man, you'd be unstoppable, legit. Yep. Like, it just like the world would just be, but Allah doesn't make it that way, So physically.
At 25, when you hear the hadith where Rasul went to each one of his wives, all 9 wives in one night, you're like, yeah, man. Yeah. At 45, you're like, how the
like, oh my God, you listen.
No way.
You're like, why? Why would you? How was he not sleeping? Anyway, yeah. but the thing is, it's like that is, so there is a sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And so for some of the men who don't understand them, for some of the women who may be thinking, well, your husband is physically, that's going to be really the most, I don't want to say dangerous time, but that's the time where more than likely another woman will be able to get his attention, his mm-hmm. time, and a relationship with him. Yeah. You're less likely, if you are just, you're paying attention to your husband, his needs and his wants. The older he gets, actually, the less likely it would be that he would get another wife for physical reasons.
Right.
It'll probably be more on a for social or economic, or just because men in general, the damsel in distress, they have an innate drive to help out and take care of women. They do. So if he has extra money, extra whatever, and he sees or hears about, or a woman who he may have an affinity for, she may look a certain way. It's not that he's not going to have a physical sex drive for that woman, but it may be more along those other lines. But I for the women, I wouldn't put it in your head to think I'm going to be able to stop my husband from getting another wife. You probably won't be able to if he's set on it, but the likelihood of managing that situation a lot better as he get older is just to make sure you know him well, you know what he likes and what he doesn't like, and you're not a headache. Then most likely, if he gets over the age of, 45 or whatever, you got a good chance to just, finish the thing out with just you and him. Yeah. But you are going to be in for if financially somehow in his 20s he's financially capable, then look out. It's just you're just gonna have a lot of trouble with certain types of men. But I would say, like I was telling someone the other day, a man really does not have to have money. I've seen it over and over again. He doesn't have to have money to get a woman, to get women, plural. Sometimes you just have to have, if you just keep yourself in decent shape, and I don't know, you can just don't be a complete fool, and you can do it. I've seen people who had nothing going for them, absolutely zero. They always keep a girl or 2 or 10. And they don't have jobs. They don't have careers. They don't have degrees or anything like that. So it's possible. But to get back on the main topic is it's something that's inevitable. The man within a certain age, he's really going to have physically, that's going to be the issue. And then as he gets older, it the need or maybe the desire to get another wife, it changes a little bit.
And I would say for our listeners that they're living in the West, especially for African American community, polygamy is like the hack. If you do it right, it can be a hack to financial freedom and independence. Mm-hmm. If you do it right. And if you look at the African American community, right, who's more educated? The women. Who makes more money on average? The women. Now you got all these single women out there just fending for themselves, raising their children by themselves. One man, one has a good man, most of them don't. Now, if you just take away the husband-wife aspect of, because the problem is that we have in the West, and this is why people ask, like, why do like Asians come in here or immigrants come in here, whether it's Asians, Italians, or whoever, they come in here and they're just so successful. They start businesses, they just get up, like, and then we've been here and we can't do nothing, right? Well, it's because we have this individualized culture and they have these collective cultures where it's like, no, it's family first. Right? They come in, they live in the same households, they pool their assets together until like they finally start rising up and they can, like, you know what, we don't got to do this no more. The next generations are doing that now. We don't do that. We get up and we, how many times have you heard, oh, you're 18? Go ahead, you're on your own. Right? Now, take away the husband, wife, or whatever. Just imagine you have one individual who makes average income, and he gets with another individual and is like, hey, let's share our expenses and share our resources. That's 2 individuals, 2 incomes coming in, right? Then we can make things happen a little bit. That's like the average American dream right there. But the American dream's not really a dream. It's an American. Well, I guess you could say it is a dream because you're actually asleep at the wheel, not really paying attention to what's going on. You're part of you're a cog now. You can add one more cog to that, and then you can step right outside of the whole matrix, as they say. Yeah. One more. Imagine having one free entire income in your household, whether it's a child, multiple children, or more likely another wife. And all 3 of y'all, all 4 of y'all, all 5 of y'all are like, you know what? We're going to be set in the next 10 to 15 years where none of us have to work. And our children don't have to work, and our grandchildren don't have to work. It really is a hack if you could do it right. You get the right people in your system.
Yeah. It actually takes about, and we've talked. I think we talked about this like privately, but it takes about 3 years, maybe 3-4 years, and that's just in general. Not anybody making an exorbitant amount of money, of 2 or 3 people, whether it's a family or a couple or a man with 2 or 3 wives or whatever, them actually legit just putting their heads together and their minds together and working together. They legit can be rich within 3-4 years of just working together. And it's like people are so attached to these superficial comforts. I don't want to say superficial comforts, but they won't delay that comfort for even greater comfort, for a little bit of, it's not even hardship. It's just, like I said, you see it a lot of other groups and ethnicities do it. They'll cram into one apartment and have 15 people living in there.
Yep.
They'll have 15 people living in there, and they will work together, live together, share everything. Now, maybe they might squabble over some bills or whatever, but I really have never heard it. I've heard of them coming in and they run it like a revolving door. Some come in, they get the blueprint, they get the plan, they get rich, and they, or they get, to the point where they're starting to compound their wealth. But I will say this though, as not an excuse, but as giving a little bit more insight on the reason why the immigrants, wherever they're from, whether they come from Mexico or Africa or Asia, all these places that they come from, and they come here and they seem to do well. One of the reasons, and they do say stuff about, oh, you black people, you've been here forever, and y'all can't come up. You find that the highest earners demographic is usually Asians, Nigerians, those people who have the highest, salaries overall, highest wealth, highest education levels or whatever. However, these people who do, think about the ambition of these people who do come from wherever they came from. These are some of the, maybe even the best and the brightest that they have. The people in their area who made it out, who literally had enough money in their own raggedy currency to then take that and make it to America. Some of these people are paying in the thousands of dollars for the coyote or the smuggler or whatever to get them here. Some people who come illegally. The people who come legally, it costs a lot of money to get a visa and all that stuff, to go to the embassy and do all that. That stuff costs money. It costs cash. Like, you have to pay in advance, and you literally pay and then wait. So they're paying in advance and waiting. These are people who have in their countries, they have surplus capital, they have the ambition, they have the foresight, they have the patience to put some money forward for something and be able to wait on that to come to fruition. And then they get here, and so it's almost like I have to succeed. I've literally left everything behind. So they have an advantage in that these are the best of them. Like, if you took us two, not to toot our own horn, but seriously, if you just took us two and our families and just threw us in any country or whatever,
we're gonna make it happen. Somehow.
We would make it happen. Now, no doubt, we know some people that we'd be like, if these people come with us, you'd be like, nah, they can't. But if you took us to, yeah. But if you just like threw us somewhere, right? It wouldn't matter where it was, we would have at least the ability to say, all right, we're going to make it happen, and give us a certain amount of time. Yeah, we'll be back where we are now. Give us a certain amount of time. But there's some people that we know of, that people that we grew up, and people that whether they're family members, friends, or whatever, you can put them in America, you can put them in South America, you can put them in Asia, you can put them in Africa, and they will be that same person. You can put them in a bank. You can surround them with money, and they just not going to. They're not going to rise above the level. They're going to blow that money, or they're going to, whatever they're going to do, or they'll wind up in jail over that money. There was a guy who was in jail, black guy, of course. I don't say of course, but hey, listen. Anyway, he was in jail. He got freed because he got off because of a wrongful conviction or something like that. And when he got out, he literally got in some squabble over some money someone owed him and killed a man and went right back in. And so these are the type of people that some of them are here that we hear about. Now, there's lots of us who are successful, and we've been here and we are successful. I think the ones of us that are not really, and there's some systemic things that go into that were put in place to actually try to keep us down. Some still rose up, but I will say that the people who come here from other countries, they are usually the best, the brightest, and the most ambitious amongst them. And so you could put those people anywhere and they're probably going to succeed because they have that, just like you could put us anywhere.
Yeah, very good point. Well, we did find one individual at least that must have heard about the new law in Pakistan that may not be true about mandated multiple wives. The only problem is that he didn't live in Pakistan. He lived in Florida. So we'll show you guys that, and we'll show you what happened here. Let me know when that pops up.
I see it.
All right, here we go.
Hey, this is one of them ambitious guys that I told you about.
In 3 different counties at the same time. Tonight, those women are speaking out, saying the system that handles marriage licenses kept them in the dark.
There are no safeguards, and that I feel like that's part of where the system failed.
He took each one of us to a county over to get married in.
If the counties did talk, that would have saved me a lot of heartache, a lot of money, a lot of stress.
I-Team investigator Adam Walser breaks down how this could happen at a time when online records can be viewed with a few clicks of a mouse.
Well, we're not going to go too far into the story, but the gist of it is,
my man said, if it ain't snowing, I ain't going.
Let's say AKA Bilal.
Yeah, man, say, yo, Winter Soldier.
He lives in Florida too.
Hey, yeah, listen, he had to. I mean, but
did you listen to the story?
I
had some questions because obviously he was trying to do the sugar mama joke, right?
Yeah,
because these ladies had money, whether it was alimony or whatever they were getting, and he was, but I was like, okay, obviously the one that snitched and did all the investigating because was the first one. So he must have left her, and she's like, "Oh hell no."
Yeah. So what he was trying to do, the whole clip, basically, what he was trying to do is he found women who were divorced, they were receiving alimony or had some sort of thing. So he was going to be married to them for a little while until he got the time, and then he was going to financially gain something or whatever. So, like I was saying in the beginning of the show, you cannot have a job, you cannot be about anything, and still somehow find a way to get women who do have something going for themselves to agree to be in a relationship with you. It happens regularly. One reason why it happens is because a lot of these women don't have a male guardian who will easily see this guy, say, this guy, he's got nothing going on. Why you believe in everything that he says? Anyway, but the point is, he, see that's a flaw in the system. The natural course of things, the way it should be, the way the Sharia is, the way Allah has laid it out, would have protected these women from falling into that. And you have the law where he can't be married to anyone else. It's just going to happen anyway. People still gonna do it. Now, he legally marrying people is wild. Because he's trying to go to jail.
Yeah, he could have did the same exact thing, and many people do the same exact thing. They just don't get legally married. Because you don't need to be I guess he was saying, oh, we got to get a joint account or add me on or whatever. You don't have to be legally married to do that.
Yeah.
So he's going to do his probation. Like they said, he's not going to serve any jail time.
Yeah.
He's going to come out and say, oh, okay, I figured it out now. And he's going to go do the same exact thing.
Yeah. I mean, there are many counties and states, their databases and their systems don't overlap.
They don't at all.
I mean, there's plenty of people that are they get married, legally married in multiple states. These truckers. I'm not gonna say no names, but
look in New York, right? There's various levels of the government, and as far as marriage certificates go, none of them communicate. So you could be in the state, and let's say there's 60 counties, so you can get married at the county level. Within that same county, there's multiple cities. You can get married in multiple cities. Within those counties, there's also multiple towns, multiple villages. You can really be a rolling stone, right in your own home area, and never be found out, right? Just again, when we have, like Mubarik said, we have man-made systems, those systems fail. The best systems that you're going to have are systems that actually try to reinforce and support the system that Allah sent down. And it's unfortunate that when a good man, who we'll just say generic, whatever that definition is for you is a good man, right? When he earnestly and may approach his wife and say, hey, I want to get another wife, another partner, I want to bring someone into this, this program I got in our family, they'll deny him. But often you'll see women get swept up by guys like I'm about to show in this clip, right? Yeah. And these types of guys will actually have multiple women, mistresses, wives, whatever you want to call them, and they'll be gladly involved in it, where you have the good men that are doing what they're supposed to be doing as men, and they get dumped on. Let me show you guys this clip. All right, where'd it go here? Is it this one right here? Right? You see that?
Provide for you. I don't get that oftentimes, and I think it's because I can do it for myself.
Not to cut your wisdom, but I don't have a job. I don't even have a car, right? And I didn't finish college. So the idea that a person believes that we're somehow equal because you got a job or you got a degree and some money, I think that's a European idea, right? And black men truly in our spirit don't operate off Caucasian law, right? So when it comes to our women and how we see ourselves, we're not going to go based on some capitalist view of, oh, I'm up here and you down here. Why? Because you had an opportunity I didn't, or you took an opportunity, or for me, I'm independent on the way that I move. My freedom is different. I can go around the planet being who I am, right? If you don't stand for what I stand for, you ain't got the same morals, values, and you don't know how to take what's in your mind and bring it out into the world and utilize your willpower and your real power, ain't no way we equally yoked, right? Because you're measuring yourself by a European system. Measure yourself by Afro-Asiatic system.
I can provide.
Yo, these are the dudes. These are the dudes that women fall for. He literally said nothing. He just spewed hot garbage. And he literally said, I'm a bum. I'm uneducated with no money and no assets. And the women are just shaking their head like,
oh yeah. We gotta find out where they have these little things so we can just be in the crowd.
I mean, he literally said nothing. I'm talking about there is not a single thing he said that would have that any woman should be like, oh, but the thing is, he looks like he's in decent shape. Mm-hmm. He's a wordsmith. He's kind of articulate. And as we said, that will unfortunately, and I'm not saying that women are dumb, but women have a weakness for men. If a man talks to a woman, a lot of times they fall for whatever he might say.
I guarantee you he came out there with a bunch of offers and numbers.
Oh yes. Yep. Listen, hold up. He's a panelist on a show somewhere, wherever that show was, and he has no job, no education, no car, and no assets.
To ask somebody for a ride.
He probably borrowed. He probably got a suspended license if he even has one. Mm-hmm. He probably borrowed the money to even get the outfit that he had on. You know what I mean? He probably, officially, his address is officially at his mama's house. But
he said, I travel around the world freely. No, you don't. You get on a bus and travel down the block.
Got a bus pass. Yeah. But yeah, these are the men who probably, and honestly, these are probably the men who get, let's just say, who have the most intimate interactions with women, more so than the person, because listen, the person with a job and an education and all these things, he's working majority of the time. He's spending his time working. He's going to school or building something or doing something recreational, whatever. This guy, he has no job. So he probably got women who work at night that he hangs out with during the day. He got women that work during the day that he hangs out at night. He crashes at this one's house or whatever. He got no job. He can go anywhere. Like as the American poet said, his daddy was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. This is him. That is the epitome of that song.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. I don't know if it was like an old In Living Color skit where they do like the stereotypical like black Nation of Islam type preacher guy, and they just say a bunch of fancy words, but they ain't really saying nothing. Like the Afro-Asiatic Semitic colonialism of the white man. stopped you from being successful. You need to change your mind to the way that the African ancestors of a colony. And you're like, wait, dude, you're not saying anything at all.
He said a colonized white Caucasian system or whatever. Basically, you just don't have any money or any education and no car. You don't have anything. That's all you said, bro.
Yeah. You tell me what Afro-Asiatic system doesn't value like being able to support yourself and your family.
Yeah. Or having transportation, reliable transportation, or some sort of wealth.
Right, horses back in the day, we just walked where we wanted to go.
He said because of money, and you as a man, you shouldn't look down on those things. Like those are things that the people who you are going to take care of, depending on you, are going to need. You're going to need some of that stuff. Otherwise, how would you take care of a woman? You up there talking to two women about women and what they need. You don't have anything to take care of them with whatsoever.
There was a grain of truth in what he was saying, which particularly our African American sisters do need to hear, that just because you may have a higher education or you may have a better job than your husband or whoever, or someone that's pursuing you, you can't take that as like, oh, I'm better than him, or I'm looking down on him and I have to this idea of I have to marry up, right? Because what's happened is when you put yourself in that position, one, you get probably a worse guy as far as the qualities and characteristics that you're actually looking for in a husband, right? The things that, like, for instance, power women, independent, that are making money and can take care of yourselves, and you want the high value man, but you want him all to yourself. Like, that's not going to happen. But you usually end up passing up on something that is good for you. And a lot of times, as the late Kevin Samuels would say, you end up buying a cat and dying alone. And that's just really the reality of the situation. So don't take superficial things as like, I'm better than somebody or they're not on my level, right? You should start first with the qualities and characteristics that you are looking for in a man, not ignoring the fact that, like, well, can he take care of me? Is he going to take care of his responsibilities, right? That's also part of it, but also just don't say, oh, I have a master's degree and he only has a mechanics license from the local trade school. Well, yeah, that doesn't mean anything, because he could take care of you and he's a good man, and he's a good practicing pious person.
Absolutely.
That's it we have for the show today. I don't believe we don't have any questions. If you have any questions, if you watch this off the live or when it's posted later, type them right into the comments, and we'll try to get back to them. I think we'll be back on next week, sometime next week, probably Tuesday again, maybe, and we'll getting back into some other stuff again. If there's any show topics that you guys want us to cover, type them in the comments. You can message us on WhatsApp. You can also email us at, let me put it up on the screen, email amansworld@gmail.com. Again, thank you guys for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.